5 kids, 5 of them, all had to be rescued from a filthy home in North Nashville. Police say no adults were anywhere around. This information coming into the newsroom this morning, and we were all startled by this one. Cuthbert Langley is on the scene following the story there from the Metro Jail. And how did police hear about this?
Steve, this is definitely one of those stories that's going to make you very angry this morning. If you can imagine, a 7-year-old who was left home alone got so desperate that he called 911 to tell police what was going on, and he wasn't alone. There were 4 others of his siblings in there, one of them as young as just 1 year old. Here's what we know happened. This was early Tuesday afternoon when police responded to Brookdale Drive in North Nashville. When officers got to the scene there, they found those kids sitting in the home completely by themselves. And as officers walked through the house trying to find an adult around, they didn't, but what they found instead were roaches crawling all over the floors, on the walls. They say they found trash all over the place, a terrible smell throughout the home, and perhaps the worst part about all of this is that officers claimed there was barely any food left for those children. 34-year-old Vanita Bedingfield was arrested early yesterday morning. Now, while the warrant didn't specify exactly, Bedingfield has the same last name as those 5 children who were found in that home, which leads us to believe she could possibly be the mother of those kids as well, if you can imagine that. She is facing 5 child neglect charges this morning and has a $38,000 bond, and she's actually going to be in court early this afternoon around 12:30 to face a judge on those charges. Of course, we'll be closely following the developments on that end of the story, both on air and online at newschannel5.com. But for now, we're live here at the Metro Jail this morning. I'm Cuthbert Langley, News Channel 5 HD.
Cuthbert, thank you. A wrong-way driver on I-65 is facing charges this morning. Police say Aaliyah Ashby was driving north in the southbound lanes between Vietnam Veterans Boulevard and the Madison exit. Well, our cameras caught up to the scene around 1 a.m. where she was already cuffed and in the backseat of the squad car. She was given a field sobriety test, and police have charged her with DUI.
A busy Clarksville road has finally reopened after a fatal accident around noontime yesterday. Here's what it looked like. This tanker truck carrying gasoline hit a car head on at the 41A bypass in Glendale Drive. What do you see right there? What the car looks like. Wow. That video from Sky 5 HD. The tanker truck jackknifed, hit a pole, and rolled over the driver of the car. Wyatt Martin was killed. Emergency crews say it was a pretty familiar scene.
This is probably one of the most heavily traveled roadways in Montgomery County. And we do have a lot of accidents on this stretch of highway.
Police are still investigating that crash from yesterday.
And it was a graphic and at times disturbing trial. And now a juror is speaking out about his experience in the courtroom. Todd Easter was the jury foreman in the case. He says most jurors had already made their minds up when they were sent to deliberate the rape charges against Corey Beatty and Brandon Vandenberg in the Vanderbilt rape trial. Easter believes the video of that female student being raped 2 years ago was indisputable proof.
It's horrendous to see for the first time, and every time you see it, but after you see it 100 times, you do find the ability, or I found the ability, to treat it like evidence.
Are you confident in the decision you made?
I am, 100%.
All right, and coming up about 7:30 this morning, hear from the detectives who were on the case, and they are the ones who had to tell the victims what had happened to her. They say she is the strongest woman that they've ever met. Steve?
Amy, the music industry, of course, we know is one of the cornerstones of our local economy, but new technology presenting some challenges to the entire industry. News Channel 5's Matthew Torres joins us now from Music Row, and there's a recent study that says the music industry, Matthew, brings in about $10 billion to our annual economy.
Steve, good morning. Big enough to where 56,000 jobs have been created from it. It'll be interesting to see what the next 10 years will look like, if it's going to be similar from what it was before. We are on Music Row West, where you see posters like these of artists, and there you see the words music album, music album. Now, unfortunately, music album sales have gone down drastically over the past few years, and it's being replaced by a popular growing rate of streaming and downloading music. And this caused revenues to drop for everyone, from local recording studios to songwriters and publishers. Now, these challenges will be a part of a discussion at an industry summit tonight in Music City, while new technology is creating opportunities for companies like Apple and Spotify. Many of the traditional record labels and studios are scrambling just to keep up.
Well, Apple figured out a way to unbundle that. In other words, enabling consumers to purchase individual songs. That was very disruptive to the music industry.
And Truitt mentions that with technology, people are now able to create studio quality music from their own homes and, in a sense, replacing the positions that you would find in traditional studios. This event, called Who Knew, will be held tonight at the Cannery Ballroom starting at 6 o'clock. For now, we're reporting live at Music Row. I'm Matthew Torres, News Channel 5 HD.